This is Gemara Nedarim Daf Pei Dalet. All the learning for this month has been generously sponsored by close friends of the Daf. As a Schosi Neshama for his father Ayerlei ben Yaakov, B'siyat Deshmaya, the learning the entire Chabura should bring Ayerlei ben Yaakov to a higher place and Ganid and Shamayla closer to the Kisei HaKavod, and of course to bring his family and the entire Chabura to be a militation for them. So we're holding on the top of Pei Dalet Amud Aleph, but we have to look back for a moment at the bottom of Pei Gimel Amud Aleph, as the Gemara had a kasha with 3 terutzim. This is really where we left off the previous year, and the reason why this is of critical importance is because today we're going to pick up from the third teretz, the teretz of Rav Nachman. So what was the Gemara's question? The Gemara's question was, is the Baal Bechlal Briois or not Bechlal Briois? That when a woman makes a neder from everyone in the world, is her husband included in that neder, or is her husband not included in the neder? Yesterday we began the Gemara. The Gemara said that the Risha is a stira, because on one hand it sounds like if the woman makes a neder, looking back on Pei Gimel and Beis, Koinim Shani Neder LeBriois, if she makes a neder from all people of the world, he is not able to be made for it. Why? And she could get benefit from leket shichan peya. So on one hand, it seems she has to take leket shichan peya. She has to take the matnas aniyim. For what reason? Because she doesn't get anything from her husband. On the other hand, it seems from the fact that from the Risha, that she is able to get supported from her husband, and that's the reason why Ina Yachal Lahafer. So we had a stira. We had 3 different answers to this question. We had the answer of Rava, we had the answer of Rav Nachman, and we had the answer of Ula. So we're now honing in on the final teretz, which is Pei Gimel and Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. We're going to read that again. The Rav Nachman says that La'olam Bal Lav Bechlal Brioisu. Now, when she makes a neder from the whole world, her husband is not included in that neder. And what is going on in our Mishnah? Why is she eating from manes aniyim? If the husband is not included in the neder, she should be eating from her husband's land. Says Rav Nachman, the Mishnah is referring to niskar sheyichol lahanis b'leket shecha. That in the event of divorce, that's when she gets from the manes aniyim. So with that understanding, the understanding of Rav Nachman, in which he just taught us that the husband is not included in briois, we turn over to today's daf, Pei Dalet Amud Aleph, and the Gemara begins with a kasha on Rav Nachman. Eisvei Rava li Rav Nachman. Ubal lav v'chlal brioisu. Asks Rava, Rav Nachman, are you correct? But tonight, we learned in a Mishnah. We're going to get to at the end of the week. Netula ani min haYehudim. If she says, literally, I am taken, I am removed from the Yidden, what is the halacha? Yafer chalkoi. He, the husband, is able to eat meat for the neder, and utei misham shasai, and he's able to have relations with her. So what we think is going on over here, but let's just finish reading the case. Utei netula min haYehudim, but she still is taken from Jews. So she says this lashon of I'm taken from the Jews. I'm not going to get any benefit. I'm not getting any pleasure. Most notably, I'm not going to have relations to anyone in the world. Says the Mishnah later on in Daf Sadi that the husband is made for the neder, and then the husband is allowed to be together with his wife. So what does this have to do with our story? So says the Gemara, from here we can prove when she says the same type of wordage of Netula ani min haYehudim, I'm taken from all the people in the world. From here we can prove whether the husband is included in that neder or not, and articulates the Gemara 4 lines down, Pei Dalet Amud Aleph, V'amrit bal lav bechlal brioisu. If you're going to tell me that the husband is not included in the neder, and when she says, I'm taking from everyone in the world, that means everyone in the world, but not including the husband. Then what? Nidrei inoi nefesh. Then what must the neder mean? The neder is not including the husband, and it only includes all the people of the world. So the neder, explains the Ran, cannot be a neder not to have relations, because she's not allowed to have relations to everyone in the world because she's a married woman. So then the neder must mean that she's not going to get any other benefit, any monetary benefit, any physical, you're not going to eat from anyone in the world, etc. If that is true, that's a classical nidre yinei nefesh. That's a neder that itself afflicts herself, that she's not going to eat from anyone in the world. If that is the case, so what is the din, as we learned previously, of a neder of inoi nefesh? If a woman says, I'm not going to eat anything from the world, the halacha is, something that afflicts herself, and the husband is able to be made for that neder, v'yafer la ilam. And not only could the husband be made for the neder, the husband is made for the neder for everyone. So proves the Gemara, it must be that the husband is included in Briyos. Since the husband is included in Briyos, when she makes his neder against all the people of the world, it includes the husband. If it includes the husband, what does that mean? That means it's a neder against what? That means it's a neder against Tashmish Hamita from relations. And it makes a lot of sense because she's usually mutter to her husband. And now she's saying she's aser. And now it would make a lot of sense why the husband can be made for his chelek, but not everyone else's. Because now it's not a neder of inei nefesh, it's a neder beinoi lebeina. It's a neder between husband and wife. So asks the Gemara and Rav Nachman, this Mishnah seems to prove that when a woman makes a neder from the people of the world, that their husband is yes included in such a neder. Answers Rav Nachman, Ei malacha, you know what, I'm going to answer you. Shaini hach. Rav Nachman is going to say, really I hold the husband is not included in Briyos. But this Mishnah that you're asking from, this it breaks the rule. Why? Timuchicha milsa. Because it proves mineu bei, that which he said itself must prove to us that something that was mutter, she's coming to make usher. So it has to be talking to an entity that was mutter, and the only entity that is mutter is her husband, is the Tashmish Hamita with her husband. So in this Mishnah, it must be just from the case itself, including the husband. Even though Rav Nachman says usually it does not. So Rav Nachman stands the test of time. And now we continue. Says the Gemara, 6 lines to the bottom. On this case, she's allowed to get benefit from the matnas anim of leket shecha and peya. Ask the Gemara, but like atani over meiser ani, what happened to meiser ani? Meiser ani is on the 3rd and the 6th year. One has to give the appropriate meisrais to the ani. So ask the Gemara, from the fact that the Mishnah said that she's able to get benefit from leket, the sheaves that are left over, the bundles that are left over, shicha, the sheaves and the bundles that are over, that's leket and shicha, peya, the corner of the field, and it does not say that she's allowed to get benefit from meiser ani. Sounds like she can't get benefit from meiser ani. But I asked the Gemara about Tanya, but we learned in the Bebraisa, ube meiser ani. So what is going on over here? Could we yes or no get benefit from meiser ani? And really what's at the crux of the Gemara's question, as we'll see in a moment, is the reason she's allowed to get benefit from meiser ani, because getting benefit from something which is hefker is not considered getting benefit from anyone in the world. However, that's only perhaps leket, shecha, and peyo, which are parts of the field which are left, and anyone can take on their own. But as we're going to see in a moment, meiser ani perhaps has an element to it that you could give it to an ani. And anytime you have the power, the rights to give something away, that's on a different playing field. For which reason? Because then the owner has that pleasure in giving them away. So but that's the stira, and let's see how the Gemara resolves it. Amar Rav Yosef loikasha, ha Rav Eliezer, ha Rabban. Says Rav Yosef, we have a stira, is meiser ani included or not? I'll answer you, you know what the answer is. So machlaikas, the Brisa is Rav Eliezer, the Mishnah is Rabbanon, de Tinan. As we learned in the Mishnah, let's elaborate what's going on over here. Rav Eliezer Aimer comes along the Mishnah and teaches us Rav Eliezer. Again, this is going to be the opinion of the Brisa that says she could take meiser ani. Says Rav Eliezer, Ein Adam Sarach Lekor Shem Al Meiser Ani Shel Demai. You don't have to be Kair Shem. You don't even have to designate Meiser Ani of Demai. Anytime we have Demai, what's Demai? Demai is the produce of an Amaretz, of an ignoramus, one who we're not sure. He is not meticulous about Chumas and Meisers, and you come and you take his produce, and you're not allowed to eat it without taking off the appropriate Chumas and Meisers, because you don't know if he took them off. What's the status of Meiser Ani, of Demai? Do you have to go and give it to the Ani? Says Rav Eliezer, no, you don't even have to designate meiser ani of demai. Seemingly, Rav Eliezer is of the opinion that meiser ani of demai you don't actually give away. Meiser ani of demai is a schus to the ani, but it's like hefker, and that's the reason why. Similarly, in our Mishnah, this woman would yes be allowed to eat meiser ani, and that is why the Brisa includes meiser ani in the list of items that this woman could eat. not just leket shicha and peah, but includes Meiser Ani. We turn over to Peidalad Amud Beis and continues the Gemara. The Chachamim, who's going to be the opinion of our Mishnah, disagree and say the Chachamim Maimrim Kair Hashem ve'ein tzarich lahafresh. No, you have to be Kair Hashem. You have to designate it. So what do the Chachamim differ and argue about? That they hold obviously Meiser Ani is more of a chiyuv, and until you separate Meiser Ani, the rest of the stuff is tevel. So we see that there's actually an act of designation, which is a form of separation. So what is this machlekes Chachamim and Rav Eliezer, my love, Laman Amar? Explains the Gemara, according to Laman Amar, Sveikai Toivel, according to the Chachamim, let's say you have to be Kair Hashem, they say that anytime it's a suffix, you're not sure what's going on with the Meiser Ani, Toivel, it makes everything that is mixed together with this Meiser Ani Tevel until you designate this stuff as Meiser Ani. Kosavar isli teves hana, and as we explained, so what it comes out of there, if you have to designate it, if everything is tevel until you designate it, that means that the owner has the rights to choose which ani he wants to give it to, and therefore the Gemara goes full circle. V'kimin isli teves hana loy ma'anya, and since there is teves hana loy ma'anya, one is not able to benefit from accepting Meiser Ani, and that is the reason why our Mishnah, following the opinion of the Chachamim, does not list Meiser Ani. Why does it not list Meiser Ani? Because this woman cannot take Meiser Ani, because there is a benefit she is getting from the world by taking Meiser Ani. Benefit from the fact that she is getting something that someone has to give away. But according to Rav Eliezer, there's no designation of the Meiser Ani Kesavar Sveikoi Einoi Teifel. That if we have Meiser Ani mixed together with other produce, it does not make the other stuff Tevel. And therefore, anytime we have an entity which does not create that the whole mixture is tevel, the owner does not have the right, does not have the privilege and the pleasure of choosing to give it to, and therefore, in our case, and that is the reason why the Brisa says, according to Rav Eliezer, a woman, even though she cannot get benefit from everyone in the world, she is yes able to get benefit from the Meiser Ani. So Rav Yosef suggests that the machlekes between our Mishnah and the Brisa, whether the woman can eat Meiser Ani, our Mishnah says no, the Brisa says yes, is in reality a machlekes Rav Eliezer and the Chacham in the Brisa, according to Rav Eliezer, that there is no tovas ana. The Mishnah is a Chacham that says yes, tovas ana. If there is tovas ana, it's considered getting benefit, and therefore the woman cannot get Meiser Ani. If there's no tovas ana, there is no benefit. Rav Eliezer says, therefore the woman can yes get Meiser Ani like the Brisa. Amar Leah Abaye, 7 lines down, Peidalad Amud Beis, comes along Abaye, and Abaye disagrees. Says Abaye, the Kuli Amos Feiko Teufel. Says Abaye, I disagree with your math. Really, anytime you have Meiser Ani mixed together with all the produce, says Abaye, it makes everything Tevel. So what's the machlokes? Rav Eliezer v'Rabbanan, Rav Eliezer v'Rabbanan ba'kem mifleki. They're arguing about something else. Rav Eliezer Savar. Says Abaye, there's a more fundamental machlokes going on over here. I mean, more fundamental, less fundamental. More fundamental in that they're arguing what is the status of an Amar. It's less fundamental that there's not a lamdisha machlokes in how Meiser Ani works. But it suggests Abaye that you know the machlokes of Eliezer and the Rabbanan is of Eliezer Savar lo nechsha Amar to Meiser Ani, they're not chayshed on Meiser Ani, that we know that even Amaratzim that are not meticulous about giving of Chumas and Meisres, they give away Meiser Ani. Why? What's the reason? If we know that this guy's an Amaretz, we know that he's not makbid on Chumas and Meisres. Why would he yes be makbid on Meiser Ani? The reason being, since any time, any person can take Meiser Ani if you're an Ani. So one has the ability to make all his possessions ownerless. He then is an Ani, and then he can take Meiser Ani. Who less lay pseida. And therefore, there is a no pseida by separating Meiser Ani, because theoretically every person can take it for himself. And therefore, in Amaretz, even though might not give off other Chumas and Meisers, will give off Meiser Ani. Why? Because what would he do? He could go and he could pull shtek, he'll designate Meiser Ani, he'll make everything he has hefker, he'll take the Meiser Ani, and then he'll take all his stuff back. So since there's always a way to circumvent and take Meiser Ani to yourself, we're not chayshed, says Rav Eliezer, that the Amaratzim will not take off Meiser Ani. Whereas Rabbanan disagree, Rabbanan Savri Nichsei Loi Mafkir Inshi. No, says the Rabbanan, that's a big risk. No one would ever do that. Why? Demir says they're afraid. Dama Zachibe Inshi Achrina. That maybe in that interim, in those few seconds when he goes and he says, all my stuff is ownerless, someone else might come swoop in and say, oh, Gavaldik, I take your car. And therefore, Hilkach Nechshadu, therefore the Amaratzim are Chayshed on Demai, on Meiser Ani. So the Gemara wanted to suggest a machlekes between the Mishnah and the Braisa, whether the woman who says she's not going to get benefit from the world can eat Meiser Ani or only Lekech Shechan Peyos, machlekes Rav Lezer and the Chachamim. Abaye rejects that machlekes and says rather Rav Lezer and Rabbanan are arguing whether Amaratzim are Chayshed on Meiser. Rava Amar, so comes along Rava, because in reality now we're back to square one, we're back to our machlekes between the Mishnah and the Braisa. Says Rava, Kan b'meiser ani amischali b'toch habayis. Says Rava, the Mishnah and the Braisa are talking about two different meiser anis. In our Mishnah, we're talking about meiser ani in which you give to the poor people from your house, the chsiv bay, that it says bayin nisina. It says with regard to it that there's a form of giving, v'nasat levi lager, the yasam almana, etc. And therefore, since there's a form of nisina, there's a benefit that's given, and that's why the Mishnah does not list Meiser Ani in the list of items that this woman could take. And that's the reason why the woman cannot get benefit from it. Whereas the Braisa says, a different form of Meiser Ani that is distributed in the granary, and over there it says, and you should leave it in your cities. You're not actually giving it away. Therefore, Charles Hanuye, there's no nisina. If there's no nisina, you could take it. It's not considered any benefit. So explains Rava that the answer to the stira is there are two types of meiser ani. One is given from the bayis, therefore there's a form of nisina, and therefore the woman cannot take it. Whereas the Braisa is talking about the meiser ani that's given in the granary, which does not say nisina, rather says vanachta, you leave it, and that's why the woman can yes take that meiser ani or pick it up for the din of kahanim and levim in the next year b'siyata dishmaya.